So this is the first lesson in our statistics unit. And for lesson one, we're just going to be working on page one. We're looking at graphs and how data is represented in graphs. So before we get started, we have a couple of vocabulary words. Quantitative data. So that is focused on a single variable. It's often collected in order to understand how characteristics differ among group members. And we're going to work on this in the next lesson. We're going to take surveys and then see how this is different among different groups of people. So let's take a look at exercise number one. This is called a dot plot because the data is represented with dots. So it says Charlie's Food Factory currently employs 28 workers whose ages are shown on a dot plot. So if you counted, there are 28 dots there. So looking at this is like our x-axis, our number line. Those are all the ages of the workers in his factory. And we go have 15, 20, 25, 30, etc. And the little dashes in between represent one number each. So part A says how many of the workers are 18 years old? So if we look at 18, there are 4 dots there. So that means 4 workers are 18 years old. What is the range of the ages of workers? So to find the range, it's the biggest number minus the smallest. So this would be 42 is the oldest person minus our youngest dot is 16. So 42 minus 16 is 26. Now part C, would you consider this distribution symmetric? Recording. Would you consider this distribution symmetric? That means that on both sides of the graphs, it's matches. So you have a bunch of dots over here and then not so many dots over here. So I would say no, it is not symmetric. And it says the average age for a worker is 22 years old. Why is this average age not representative of a typical worker? Well, let me clear this off. So 22 years old is right about here. So if you're looking at a typical worker, a lot of your workers are there. So most of your workers are younger than 22. So during class, we discussed why is that average so high? And I would say only one worker is actually 22. What happens is we have some workers, maybe the foreman or the manager or the owner, who's older. So that affects the average. So I'm going to say the older ages affect the average. So sometimes an average isn't the best way to look at data. Okay, now exercise 2. We have a farm and it's studying the weight of baby chickens after 1 week of growth. They find the weight in ounces of 20 chicks and the weights are shown below. Construct a dot plot. For this, you just have to be careful. You take each number. So I have a 2, I'm going to put a dot by the 2. And I just kind of cross off or do a check mark as I go. 2 2s, 3, 1. Sometimes I can do 2 at a time. 2 4s. Sometimes you'll see these with X's. It's the same thing as a dot. And there's our dot plot. If If you have any questions, please ask. Let me know.